Hello, this is Spartan Commander, and this is the 70th Rome Total War Brotherhood battle that I put onto YouTube. The team I'm in today consists of Brotherhood member Killer B, who has bought the Rome Julio faction. And we have Brotherhood member Conan, who has bought the Rome SBQR faction. Just to say that Brotherhood member Conan and another Brotherhood member called Cannon were the co-founders of the Brotherhood all those years ago. And they must have done a good job because the Brotherhood's still going so strong today. And our third teammate is myself, Spartan Commander, who has bought the Rome Julio faction. So with the three of us there, we've got years and years of RTW experience, but you wait till you see the other team. They've got years as well. Should be a great game to watch. And here are the other team. There's a Brotherhood member calling himself I Am Scum, who has bought the Rome Scipio faction. That, of course, is not his real name, but I'm not quite sure what his real name is, but he is a Brotherhood member. Then we have Brotherhood member Uther, who has also bought the Rome Scipio faction. And then we have Brotherhood member Cataclysm. Some of you will know him as King's Sacred, but he is now a Brotherhood member and has called himself Cataclysm. So that's the other team there, full of experience, great fighters. I reckon it's going to be a great battle to watch. At this stage of the battle, I thought we'd have a look at Conan's SBQR army. As you can see here, he has bought 17 urban cohorts and 3 cavalry. It'll be interesting to see how well 17 herbs and only 3 cavalry will do in this battle. As you can see, Killer B and myself have not bought the maximum cavalry either, so this could be an interesting one to watch, all that infantry. At this early stage of the battle, you can see that Uther has bought some gladiators and he is just charging them in to my allies' skirmish unit at the front, the pilot shield units. And those gladiators are quite tough in their own right. And if you notice that their charge there has just probably caused the rout of the SBQR pilot shield unit there. And there's a close-up of the gladiators fighting. Bringing gladiators to the 31k battlefield is very unusual, but Uther tends to do it from time to time, just to see how well those gladiators do. As you can see there, this is the middle of the battlefield, and this seems to be where the action seems to be starting at the moment. As you can see, both teams are sizing each other up there, and it looks like could kick off at any time, I think. At this early stage of the battle, you can see that the enemy Scipii army is aggressively attacking our ally here on our right flank. You can see that both sides have got some units in Testudo there, and also you can see that there's some enemy archers who are targeting our cavalry. There you can see the fire arrows that they're firing over towards our cavalry there. So bringing archers can be a bit of a nuisance for the enemy team, because those archers can tend to peg your cavalry back a bit, because you obviously don't want to be targeted by the archers there. Meanwhile, here on our right flank, you can see that there's a Testudo in action there. As you can see, they're fighting the Julii infantry, and if you notice, there's lots of pilers being thrown as well on that side of the battle. But it certainly looks like this is where the battle may well start off here. This is where the action seems to be at the moment. Lots of skirmishing here. As you can see, there's enemy going to be hit by our Julii cavalry there. Bang! Straight into that enemy Testudo unit. But if you notice that the Julii cavalry are now pulling back because they saw the infantry approaching, and you don't really want to get into fighting with infantry just standing still like they would have been then. As you can see, the enemy Scipii cavalry has just charged in there as well. And there seems to be a lot of enemy cavalry coming over to our right flank now. I can see even the enemy Brutii cavalry from the far left flank is bringing cavalry over. So this certainly looks like the place where where there could be some massive cavalry hits going in. As you can see, the enemy cavalry are kind of like just waiting there, like a coiled spring, if you like, just ready to spring forward at the right time. As you see, there's a lot of aggressive infantry fighting going on there as well. There's a close-up of some of the fighting there. I think the our allies' Julii line's holding quite well there. As you can see, a Scipii cavalry charge is coming in now, and bang, straight into some of Conan's urban cohort units there. They were hit. Meanwhile, here you can see that the enemy Brutii and enemy Scipii cavalry are attacking our allies' Julii cavalry there, and that is one heck of a cavalry battle going on just at that point. Plus there's some enemy infantry being thrown in there as well. If you notice now, I'm bringing my cavalry over to assist my allies by charging straight in. And if you notice, the enemy Brutii cavalry are now deciding it's time to pull back. And just to pull back, just to get a chance to recharge where they get that charge bonus. So as you can see here on our right now, it's really getting pretty tight there with all the cavalry. If you notice now, I've brought my whole infantry army over from the left flank over to the right here, because it seemed we're in such a dangerous position here on the right. I've decided to take a chance to bring my whole army over here to be able to try and assist here on the right flank.
Have lost their leader. This turn of events.
As you can see, our allies' general has just been killed there, so of course the morale of his troops will now drop. If you notice, since I brought my entire infantry formation over, you notice that the enemy infantry have pulled back a bit now. I think that was the main aim, was to try and take a bit of pressure off that right flank. I've still got lots of infantry units left in my main formation that I can put anywhere on the battlefield if they're needed anywhere, but the main concern was this right flank of ours, as I thought it looked like it could have well have broken. So that's why I brought my infantry over there. If you can see now, it looks to me like both sides are trying to regroup and reorganise. If you notice, I've got a small little army there of consists of 3 urban cohorts, but I've got a command eagle unit behind them. As others of you have seen my battle videos before, I like to keep a command unit when I make a mini army with them to keep their morale up. So as you can see, there's my mini army there facing the enemy, mostly Brutii infantry. If you notice now, I'm also bringing a pilot shield unit in front of my my little mini army now, just to try and soak up some of the pilots. Now if you notice, I've moved my whole army back together again now to face the main threat, which is the enemy Brutii army there, which is kind of the same as mine. It's basically untouched, fresh and ready for action there. So I've decided to face them now with my whole formation. As you can see, the enemy have still got a lot of cavalry left, ready to charge in, just probably just at the right time.
We're under attack.
And at this time at stage of the battle, I'd just like to pause the battle so we can just have a look at both teams at the moment. As you can see there, that's our team there on the left. and there's the enemy team on the right there. As you can see, mostly it's mostly Brutii infantry in the enemy team, with some of the Scipii infantry as well there. And on our side it's mostly Julii infantry, with some of Conan's SPQR infantry left there as well. So, and with the cavalry numbers, I think they've got a slight advantage with cavalry. So it's pretty even at the moment. Here in the centre here, you can see that the enemy Brutii infantry and Conan's SPQR infantry are fighting quite aggressively there. And also I can see some enemy Scipii infantry also involved in that fighting against Conan's infantry as well. So it's kind of all it's all seemed to be happening in the centre now, when it was on the flank, the right flank before. If you know notice the enemy Scipii cavalry are moving out to our left there. So there could well be some flanking actions there. And as you can see, some of the enemy Scipii infantry are moving around to our left. If you notice, I've moved some infantry units there to try and counter that flanking movement there. So obviously what they would like to do is to get some infantry around our flanks, and then if you see their cavalry there waiting, they probably like to engage us from the flank and then smash in with that cavalry to rout lots of our units. So we must be aware of that. Now if you notice, their enemy Scipii cavalry are going to charge in to what looks like my centre urban cohort. Bang! Straight into him. If you notice, my cavalry are coming in now to counter. And I would think that the Scipii cavalry would want to pull back at this stage, as my allies brought cavalry in as well there. So we've managed to rout a couple of the Scipii cavalry units there. But that was a very aggressive cavalry attack there by Uther, charging straight into one of my urban units there. It's a very aggressive tactic there. And if you notice, he's trying to do a wide left flanking action here, even trying to outflank those units I've put on our left flank there. So he's I think Uther's kind of being very aggressive here in this battle. Meanwhile, if you notice on our right flank, can you see that Sacred, or Cataclysm as he is known in this game, is also doing a flanking action. He's coming around our right flank. Now if he runs troops around there, it's spread my army very thin. If you notice, my army now have spread a lot of the units out on the left flank and the right flank, and it's kind of thinning my army out quite a lot. Meanwhile, here over on the left, can you see that the enemy Scipii infantry are attacking aggressively onto one of my units? And as you see, if you notice on the right as well, they're doing that flank. So actually we're being hit on both flanks by very aggressive enemy play here. If you notice there, the enemy Scipii cavalry has just charged in. If you notice here, I'm going for the enemy general. And bang! I spotted the enemy general was fighting there, so I decided to target him with my cavalry. And as you all know, if you manage to kill the enemy general, it lowers the morale of his troops. So I'm glad I managed to get him now, because even though a lot of the enemy units aren't routing, their morale would have dropped a lot by that general being killed. So it should be interesting to see what happens there on the left. But if you notice, the enemy Brutii on our right have brought round several infantry units round behind us now. That's a great move by Sacred. He's coming round behind us. If you notice, my cavalry is charging in again, trying to cause as many casualties as I can into the enemy Scipii infantry there. Knowing that their general's dead, I was hoping that if I charge in enough with my cavalry, I could start routing most of their units there, because their morale would have dropped so much. But if you notice that the enemy Brutii infantry are now coming round behind us here, so things are not looking that good for our team at the moment. We're really spread out here, and with the enemy getting in behind us, it's not looking very good, really.
Our ally has been slain.
If you notice here, there's another Julii cavalry charge coming straight into the enemy Brutii infantry there. The engaged Brutii infantry trying to cause some units to rout. But That Brutii infantry held well there. So now you have to pull the cavalry back out for another charge to get all that cavalry charge bonus. If you notice over on our left flank, you'll see that there's a heck of a lot of fighting going on over there. And as you can see, unfortunately, it looks like our team's getting the worst of it on the left. Looks like a lot of our Julii infantry are being routed there. Now if you notice here, I'm going to charge my cavalry into where I can see a weakened enemy unit. Now can you see I'm going to hit that Scipii urban unit there. Hopefully I'm going to rout him so I can bring my cavalry there. Now the urban unit's routed. I'm going to bring my cavalry through, and then can you see the Brutii cavalry there? The Brutii infantry fighting my infantry, the green infantry. Now if I can charge my cavalry into the back of them, we could well get a few of those Brutii infantry to rout.
Your gallant general has fallen.
And there you go. I also ran my infantry forward as well, so I was putting as much pressure on those Brutii infantry as I could. I'm just going to pause the game for a second here so we can take stock of actually what's happened. If you notice on our left, nearly all our allies have been routed there. I think there's one unit of archers that's been thrown into the battle there on our left. I think that's that one there. But apart from that, our left flank, after a gallant battle, has kind of been routed. But if you notice on our right flank and the centre, we seem to be holding. See, on the right flank, we seem to have routed most of the enemy troops there, and Conan's SPQR units in the centre have held as well. So though we've lost our left, we seem to have been victorious on our right, and we've got Conan holding in the centre. Let's see what happens. As you can see there, the rest of the Brutii infantry there have been routed. As you can see, there's some enemy Scipii cavalry charging into us as well. So there is a pretty unusual battle there. The right flank we are victorious on, totally victorious on, and our left flank, the enemy are totally victorious. So it'll be interesting to see whose troops from which flank are going to be the strongest here. You're going to pause the game here just so we can take stock of exactly what's happening at the moment. You can see there's our team there, the Rome Julii and some SPQR units. That's our team, and I've got some cavalry out there as well. So that's all that's left of our army, and all of our units are battle damaged. And there's the enemy units there. You can see the Brutii and Scipii infantry units there, and of course all their units will be battle damaged as well. So this all could come down to morale, good tactics, and great skill. Let's just see what happens. As you can see here, what I've decided to do is to charge my infantry in quickly, not to give the enemy time to reorganize or reform. I want to hit them hard before they get a chance to do that, to kind of keep them on the back foot, if you know what I mean. Just being very aggressive there. If you notice, I've got my cavalry out to the far left, and I just want to charge them in at the right time here, because I feel that with the pressure of my infantry being aggressive onto those battle damaged enemy units, a good hit by my cavalry could cause the morale to drop of the enemy team, and then maybe cause a lot of their enemy units to rout. As you can see, my cavalry units now are charging through an enemy unit that was put in front of them to smash into the engaged enemy infantry units there. Now can you see that straight away a lot of the enemy units are starting to rout now. If you notice that my ally is bringing his cavalry in behind as well with another hit, so it's kind of it was kind of a really good cavalry hit there, which caused a lot of the enemy units to rout. But as you can see, there's still several enemy units left. If you notice now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my cavalry, because they're so battle damaged, I'm going to take them around the back of the enemy, obviously with a view to smashing into the back of those engaged enemy infantry. But if you notice, the enemy have spotted that and are sending cavalry to counter my cavalry there. So this could be important, because if their cavalry wins, they could get in behind us. If my cavalry wins, then I'll get in behind them. And if you notice there, we were lucky and my cavalry managed to rout the enemy cavalry there now, and now that leaves the rear of the enemy infantry to be hit. And there we go, we're going to charge in, and I'm hoping that this charge is going to rout what's left of the enemy infantry, who are all engaged in fighting, and bang, as my cavalry units hit, you can see a lot of the enemy units routing now. And I think there's just one enemy unit left, and that's the Scipii cavalry general now. I think he's the only enemy unit that is now left.
The enemy general is killed.
So if you look at the dead, you can see where the action, most of the action was on the flanks, and then quite a bit in the centre towards the end as well. As you can see now, the enemy Scipii generals charged into what's left of our cavalry. The Roman cavalry generals are pretty tough units, so you know, they're still capable of being able to rout other units, even with a small amount of men they've got left. But I think in this case, yeah, the general's just gone, just killed the general there. So and there you go. That's the last of the enemy units have been routed.
But victory all the same.
So I'm sure you agree that was a pretty good battle there, full of great moves, and who was going to know who's going to win there? First thing I'd like to say is really well played by the other team. I thought they played extremely well. Lots of great flanking action, lots of great aggression, and some really good tactics by them. And well done to our team too. I thought Killer and Conan played extremely well there. Also displaying great teamwork, tactics, and battlefield awareness as well. I think both teams played really well. As you can see, it was only a close victory, and I'm sure you will agree it could have gone either way there. But yeah, it was a great battle to be in, and I hope you all enjoyed it. And it's the Spartan Commander saying, hope to see you soon, and bye for now.